Okay, let's try this for the second time. From the outside, this will seem like the last laptop you'd ever want to pick up. But there's a few key reasons why you would actually want to choose the Dell Latitude E6230 as your next laptop or something similar to it. Let's start with the outside. Mine's a refurbished model, by the way, so please excuse the wear and tear you'll see in my little close-up screens. We'll get back to exactly why it's refurbished in just a little bit. The laptop is not the lightest or thinnest by any means, but is just under 1 inch and a little over 3 pounds, which makes it still travel friendly, and that's with the battery and SSD installed. The aluminum lid has a brushed cover over it, which feels pretty nice, but the overall look of the laptop screams for work, not play, which is actually pretty important. Taking a look at the size, we have a 34mm express card port, which I've never used. We have 2 USB 3.0 ports, and of course an HDMI port. On the back, we have a LAN port, and we also have a 65 watt-hour battery. You can upgrade this to a 97 watt-hour battery or lower this to a 58 watt-hour battery. And next to it is a Kensington lock and of course a charging port. On the other side, we have a VGA port. We also have an eSATA port, which is something you don't see too commonly, but that eSATA port doubles as a USB 2.0 slot, which is pretty nice. And of course, further down, we have a smart card port, which is busted, a la the refurbished part going on there. And beneath that is an SD card slot. On an even worse note here, if you guys look back at that smart card and SD card slot, they're in some terrible positionings. I don't know what Dell was thinking when they put these slots like that. You literally have to tilt the laptop up on its side in order to access those slots, especially if you're trying to access the SD card slot. When it comes to the performance, I gotta start with the first two things you're gonna see when you open up this laptop. That's the keyboard and the display. When it comes down to the keyboard, at first I really didn't like it because one, this is my very first laptop, so I had to really kind of get used to the keys being so close. I was making a bunch of errors, I was getting kind of frustrated, but within a short amount of time, just a day or so, I was typing faster than I would actually type on my desktop keyboard. And I'm even going first to say I really like the keyboard on the Dell Latitude. It's really awesome. I actually would prefer having that type of keyboard on my desktop. I'm kind of in the market trying to look for one right now. The display is 12.5 inches with a resolution of 1366 by 768, which Dell calls HD. I sure as heck don't. But yeah, it also has anti-glare technology built in, which doesn't mean that much for me because I don't really work outside with this laptop, but I'm pretty sure for a lot of you, that's going to be really important. Overall, the display does work really well. I have no problem seeing my code and my tons of text that I look at through my Notepad++, which is what I'm doing most of the day as a developer. And of course, bouncing from screen to screen. I do watch some YouTube from time to time. I don't really play any games on the laptop, but yeah, the display does work quite well for what it is. And also the hinges on the display are pretty good as well. When I'm in the office, I'm actually hooking this laptop up to a multi-monitor setup where I have 2 monitors, one going into the HDMI, one going into the VGA. And this actually works well. I'm kind of bummed out by the fact that once you put 2 external monitors into this laptop, you lose the laptop display, so you can't have a 3-screen setup. That kind of sucks, but being actually able to do that with a laptop at this price point, this laptop is actually less than $300. We're gonna come back to that. But to be able to do that at this price point is pretty good, and is exactly what I needed for my office type setup and to get my work done. Of course, I can't forget about the webcam. This is how this looks.
It's bad.
And before we dig into the performance of this laptop, let's also take a little bit of time to flip it over and just take a look at the guts, which Dell made extremely easy because there's only one screw you have to undo and you can just pop the lid right off. Thank you, Dell. I really do enjoy that. Once we pop the lid off, the first thing we're presented with is, well, the main thing that most of you guys are going to touch, and that is the memory. The memory can take 2, 4, or 8 gig DIMM modules. Of course, I filled it up to the max and put 2 8 gig DIMMs in there for a total of 16 gigs. You can have that in the speeds of DDR 1600 megahertz. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't I don't know if they actually have a laptop maybe that's faster than that. I'm pretty sure they do. And further down, there is the speakers, which actually get decently loud. And next to that is the SSD, which houses a 128 gig SSD. The write and read speeds are around 300 megabytes per second, and that is actually not bad as far as the speed is concerned, but the space is definitely an issue for me. So later on, I will definitely be swapping out this SSD. Further up, you have the fan that cools the laptop, and it does get audible when under load, but not too terribly loud, which is great. And of course, next to that is the CPU, which is an Intel i5-3320M, which also houses the graphics, which is the Intel HD 4000. And next to that is the wireless, which is an Intel Centrino wireless end card. I believe the model is a 6250 or something like that. And of course, Dell gives you an extra 2 PCI Express ports to do whatever the heck you want to do with. But I really wouldn't know what you would do with those ports. Once again, at this day and age, if those PCI Express ports aren't big enough or don't give you enough room to house an mSATA drive or an M2 drive, there's nothing much you can put in there besides a wireless card. Oh, and I forgot to mention it. The laptop also has Bluetooth 4.0, but I couldn't get any of my Bluetooth headphone devices to actually work with the laptop, which is kind of weird. I'm not exactly sure if that's a Windows 7 situation or if it's a situation with the laptop itself. Now getting into the Windows here, you have Windows 7 Professional on this laptop. You can also run Linux on Ubuntu if you want to. Dell actually did verify that works on this laptop. Once you get into it, it runs pretty smooth. Multitasking, you will notice a little bit of lag there, but if all you're running is just Office applications, coding applications, and things of that matter, the laptop will chew through those. It runs them just fine. I did encounter some issues when I first booted up the laptop, and I noticed that when it went to sleep, it just wouldn't come back. It would just be dead black screen, and I would have to actually restart the laptop in order to get anything going again. That problem was due to the SD card driver that came with the laptop. Apparently there's some issue with it, and I had to roll that driver back to a previous version once I found it in order to remedy the problem, and after that, smooth sailing. The battery is a bit of a downside for me because it doesn't last as long as I thought it would last, being that it's not a gaming laptop. But it doesn't seem to really matter much because I could only get about a couple hours out of it without having to go find a charger and plug it in. If you're really trying to get work done, that's about the most you can get to it. You can try lowering the brightness on the monitor down low as you can to make it stretch a little further, but it's just not going to last you that long. And that's pretty much how it is. You could get the 97 watt hour battery, but to me, the 65 watt hour that's already on there sticks out far enough. If you get the 97, it sticks out even further. Man, it's too much booty. It's too much. Can't take it. So in conclusion, for less than $300, you're getting a pretty solid laptop that covers all the basic needs of your mobile computing when you're trying to get your work done on the go. I go into work every day for the last month with this laptop. I'm able to hook it up to my 2 monitors, a keyboard, a mouse, get all my work done, and at the end of the day, I just unplug everything, close it on the laptop, and go home. That simple. It hasn't failed me once. It works really well, and it's pretty quick if you're not trying to run any sort of truly heavy applications on it. After all, you're only dealing with a dual-core CPU, so you got to keep that in mind when it comes to these kind of things. But like I said, it's a laptop that's strictly mostly for work. You can do some light gaming on it, I'm sure, Minecraft or something like that, but past that, no. And for me, that's okay. And if the same thing for you, then this is a nice budget laptop. I'm pretty sure that you will be happy with what it can do. So with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. You guys have a good one. I see you. Bye.